Yoshida,
This is Fern Halls,
and you are listening to Aetheryte Radio.
Aetheryte Radio.
All right, hello and welcome to Aetheryte Radio, Gamerscape's Final Fantasy XIV podcast and Fusion X. Joining me today, we've got Aldino and we've got Rook.
Hello.
Hello. So this is just sneaking it right in there.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been a couple weeks. We have been just busy with life. We came back from FanFest. We were sick. We did an anniversary episode. We had PAX, and here we are.
I stayed on Fusion's floor.
It's true. I haven't actually rolled the bed up yet. It's still just like I just kind of like half folded it so I don't have to like jump over it like an obstacle course to get to my desk.
I was in that room.
It's true.
My physical body was in Fusion's podcasting room. It happened.
Used this microphone to cast WoW.
I feel like I got it dirty from that. I'm so sorry.
I need to get like all the like the Lysol, the Windex, the just everything.
You should never let your MMO foods touch. You know what I mean? They you have to just kind of keep them apart.
Yeah. So yes, we've been busy. PAX was also last weekend. We did some stuff there. Check it out, gamerscape.com. We've got an interview with the voice cast from Final Fantasy XVI. It does have spoilers though, so like if you're one of those people that haven't checked it out, you might want to be a little bit careful about that. Some hands-on with some stuff as well. Square Enix's Foam Stars. We had a chance to check that out, which is like if the Koreans made a nice knockoff of like Splatoon and Overwatch.
Yes,
right?
that is
like
probably the best way to describe it.
It was better than I thought. I'll leave it at that. But Rook wrote a wonderful hands-on thing for that, so go check that out as well. Yeah, we got a lot of news to catch up on. We've been very sporadic the last couple months because of everything going on. So we got some stuff to catch up on. So we're gonna go ahead, jump in here to news, which is, man, it's gonna be like half the show is just news. I think today. We got so much news. Moogle Tomes. It's happening right now. Patch 6.5 is going to be early October. So from now until then, get your tomes. You can get all the doggos. You can get an anniversary framers kit, which spoilers. I mean, like not spoiler. You probably won't be able to get it during any other thing because right now is the anniversary. It's like 10 tomes.
This is the time.
Super easy. Go do like one raid and you'll have enough to grab the framers kit. So make sure to go do that. And we'll get into the Rising in a little bit because that's what we're going to talk about today. Letter from the Producer Live 89 is going to be September 23rd, and that's going to be held during Tokyo Game Show. This seems so strange to me that they are doing the live letter like when what's FanFest? It's like late October. Just the idea of like, hey, we're
mid-October.
We're gonna do the letter from the producer and drop the patch right before FanFest instead of like waiting like a couple weeks and dropping it to have something at FanFest.
I'm
seems
so
really weird.
confused because normally, I mean, I honestly don't actually know if this is the case for the EU and JP FanFests normally. But as far as I've always seen with previous FanFests and what I thought, you always have the keynote and then you have a live letter the second day, right?
Yeah.
So what's gonna be in place of that at London
Right.
FanFest?
Yeah.
I guess they could do another one for 655, but that'd be so quick that nobody would have done it. So they won't want to talk about it.
Yeah,
so I don't
it's really
know.
weird. I mean, I think if I remember, I think the first FanFest, it was like right after the Shiva patch because I remember, was it right before or right after? We had the trailer. I remember them playing the trailer. Yeah, I don't know. The timing just feels really weird. So I'll be curious to see what else they do for panel stuff. Just another dev panel, I guess, instead of a live letter. Who knows?
I mean, maybe. We do know that 6.5, right, is supposed to be the patch where we like definitively know some stuff or really start getting some kind of thing towards the expansion, right?
Please.
So it's very possible that, like, with the themes, because we've had the patch art and everything revealed recently, we have that theme of the new Dawn. We obviously had the reveal of Dawn Trail. we know like where we are going generally, so maybe they wanted to do it before the fan fest because some of the stuff that's going to be revealed at the fan fest or talked about at the fan fest or anything else will be set up by the stuff in 6.5 or will be something that like presuming you've played that makes sense or has like a logical extension or builds the hype into it. I don't know. It is really strange. I'm not sure why they did this, and I am curious to see what is going to be in its place, if there's some other big news we just don't know about yet, if they're just going to do some kind of interview panel, if they're just not going to have anything that morning. I don't know.
I mean, if they're gonna do something like some kind of like an interview panel, I mean, if it's in London, like that'd be prime location to do like a voice actor panel, which would be nice because I feel like every time they've done that, that's been on the JP side, and we never get any interpretation done for it.
Right.
And it is unless you play the game in Japanese, it's not people you're familiar with, right? So that would be a cool time to do that. They just released the video where the voice actors for Stinian Thancred, Alphino, and Alice did a cake making competition where they tried to emulate the cake that was done last year. It's like their version of nailed it because they perfect.
They did it.
Exact replicas were done.
Exactly how the characters in game would have done it, I think.
Yeah.
Exactly. My favorite thing is literally seeing all of the fan art that has come out where people are just drawing their characters over them with like the rest of the camera setup and everything else, like the video is still there. So it's just them as their characters. It's so cute.
Yeah, it was really funny. Make sure to go check that out. That's on YouTube. It's also up on the Lodestone. Going back to TGS though, so we will have the live letter. In addition to that, there will be a couple of 14 things to do at their booth. There will be a trial roulette of the 6.x fights. Then there's also going to be, if you're newer to Final Fantasy XIV, they're going to have the Ifrit Battle Challenge, and participants for both of those will get a 10th anniversary postcard.
Cute.
Interesting
That's
that we
cool.
didn't have any of that at PAX.
I was waiting for it.
I'm curious. I'm just curious why. Like, it's the 10th anniversary here too. Like,
No, it's only the 10th anniversary in Japan.
Yeah, only
Time is
in
different there, Fusion.
yeah, I don't know. It's just it's weird. It's just because we just had FanFest, but like I didn't get a 10th anniversary postcard at FanFest, so I don't know.
True.
I don't know. It's just an interest. They wanted to go hard on Foam Stars and 16, I guess.
Yeah.
This next one is really funny. So, as we said earlier, Rook came to visit for PAX, and I had my phone going through the car. We were playing the Sanctuary's Heart Final Fantasy XIV Chill arrangement album, just some chill music, as we're driving to and from the airport. And I'm like, yeah, this released digitally. I had forgotten all about it. I'm like, yeah, they never did a physical release of it. Like the next day, they're like, hey, so we're releasing a physical version of. I was like, that timing though. So this is going to be the deluxe edition, which is going to come with 4 extra tracks. Who Brings Shadow, Miracle Works, With Hearts Aligned, and To the Edge. So if you pre-order now, you also will get 2 bonus stickers. So go check that out if you haven't already. It's if you are like me and you just load up like Lo-Fi Girl like a bunch while working or something, grab this album. It's really cool. There's also the Mosaic Art sweepstakes. You got to act quick on this one. It's been up for a while. We've been not here for a little bit. You can enter a screenshot to be one of 20,000 used to form Yoshitaka Amano's 10th anniversary artwork, which is, we got this right here. That's our Zen filler for this, this week. Happy birthday, Philip, by the way. I don't
Happy birthday, Philip!
So yeah, you have until September 11th at 7:59 a.m. PDT. Who knows
Also,
if
we should
they'll
mention
stick to
that Philip is Sinidra's husband.
Yes.
In case people
Not
don't
that
know.
Sinidra's real name is secretly Philip.
But yeah, so like 20,000 entries. Like, that's a lot of entries.
Yeah, there's a lot.
People that are selected can get the Cloud Strife Harrogale cap, Noble Barding, or the Bluebird earring. So get on that quick. I might do that just to see if I get that hair finally.
Yeah, you got this weekend.
Yep, that's it. If you are one of those people that are like, I enjoy Battle Royale type games, and you play Fall Guys, sorry. I'm just watching Rook because like when we announced this, her face just did a thing because she doesn't care, and it's wonderful.
I don't care about this.
The Warriors of Light Fame Pass is now available, and you can level that up until Tuesday, October 3rd. So if that's something you're into, it is an option. I had barely played any of Fall Guys. I think I played a fair amount during like their beta, and I just had currency somehow on the account. So I'm like, all right, done. Got the Dragoon costume. I'm good to go. I'll probably never play it again. But if I do, I have the costume for my namesake. So
You're good to go. And I know a lot of people that have really been enjoying this.
Yeah.
And I actually kind of found it to be a really fun thing to be able to do that's still 14 adjacent, but not specifically just 14, as we're kind of in that lull phase and all that other kind of stuff. So I know a lot of people who've been taking groups in and just having fun with it, and that's awesome. So don't let my lack of interest in this, detract from it for everybody else.
How is just it feels so weird. It's usually like me that's like the big this is dumb. This is the stupidest thing, and Rook's just over here like
I feel like it's one of the. It is a weird reversal. I feel like it has to be because every now and then, if something is like everybody's on the hype train for it, every now and then I dig my heels in. Typically, I'm not the person that's just being like snooty about it, just to be snooty about it. Typically, I'm also on the hype train. But I think when the Fall Guys hype was just exploding on Twitch and like every streamer was doing it, I was always like, yeah, it's fine. It just never clicked with me in a way where it makes for great entertainment and it makes for a really silly, fun thing to do with friends, which again is fine and works really great. But as somebody who I love our MMOs and other things, it never appealed to me in the same way. So it's fine. It's fine.
Funny. Usually I'm neutral because I'm neutral. Here I'm neutral because I have to be. Because like I cannot speak of this. This is
why can you not speak of this?
Because I work for the company that makes that game.
Oh,
which is something that we don't
full
usually
disclosure.
Talk about. Yeah. Like I don't work on that game. I just work for the company that makes that game. And can't talk about it.
Fair.
So there you go.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a thing. It's available until Tuesday. I don't think you can level it. You can. I think you have to like finish like your progress on that. I think that's how that works. Because it's kind of like
it is a video game
past thing. Yeah. So if you want that, like probably start earlier rather than later. I mean, you can also like, I'm trying to think, because it doesn't go like you think like a normal like season pass in a video game. It's like 1 to like 100 or something. But Fall Guys has like shorter seasons. So like you could just like buy your way through it without like having to spend like an arm and a leg as well if you just want to get some of the costumes and stuff. But yeah, if that's something you're interested, go check it out. Fall Guys, it's a thing. We're doing it. We're gonna get it in Gold Saucer. It's happening. So please look forward
Heaven
to
forbid
it or not.
there's another crossover with the other big game.
The other game
there. Yeah, because then I'm just gonna have to be like, I can't be. I just can't be.
Charles.
I'm just gonna just say things like, yes, that is a video. It is online. You can play it with people.
Look,
I think I'm okay if I say those things.
Look, I mean, if I could pwn noobs as a Sidian with a shotgun, I would at least try it. I would throw $20 at that. I had a Fortnite phase for a few months.
They were just building from Fortnite, right? Like it
No,
doesn't
it's still
exist
there.
in this game anymore.
They have a no
'cause I was
build
gonna
mode.
say- okay. It'd be super cute if you got like an L2 outfit or something, and then you could go build walls.
There you go.
L2, the little dragonette. You know who I'm
Yep.
talking about.
Yeah, I know
Fusion,
who
right?
you're talking about.
You just gave me such an
That's
absolute.
just-
Those of you who are listening, you
that's
won't
just
have
not-
seen this, but Fusion gave me such a just completely. Fusion's look
No,
was the look I
it
gave
was-
when
it
Fall
was-
Guys got announced as a collab.
It was more of a look of like, I don't think you know how Fortnite works, kind of. But that's fine. That's fine.
I've played a fart knife once or twice in my life.
It is a video game.
I'm sorry. You've played a what?
A fart knife.
Fart knife.
She's like, I didn't stutter. Come on.
Yeah. No. That's exactly what it's called. Yeah. All right. This morning was the first stream for the Crystalline Conflict Regional Championships Europe and Oceania quarterfinals. I think Rook, you were there, right?
Yes, I was.
What were you doing?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I guess we haven't really talked about this here yet, but
Mm.
now I feel really embarrassed. Hi, yes, I'm Rook, and I'm one of the official commentators and shoutcasters for Crystalline Conflict Roulette. Crystalline Conflict Regional Championship, EU and Oceania. Although Crystalline Conflict Roulette is also something that you should all do. Check it out on Thursdays with the PvP Revivals. It's awesome. But no, I'm so excited. I'm so excited to be a part of CCRC. I'm so happy to finally be able to talk about it as well. And I am, yes, absolutely going to be at London Fan Fest next month. I'll be there on the stage casting it, and I'll be thinking about our beautiful Aetheryte radio family the whole time, and all of you listeners and everyone. But we had our first part of the quarterfinals this morning. The streams are bright and early for US times, and by the time many of you are listening to this, they probably will be done, but you'll still be able to watch the VODs, and I would absolutely recommend that everybody does if you can't tune in live. I have to be awake. I gotta get my butt up and makeup and ready, especially tomorrow for Oceania, because we're starting even earlier with their time zones. But you can all watch at your own leisure, but definitely give it a watch, because there's a huge range of experience in the competition, from friends who really just went, hey, YOLO, let's try this, let's do this, to really cutthroat competitive teams. But everybody has been having so much fun, even behind the scenes, just seeing like the players chat and talk and be excited. And even after the first, rounds that we got to see today, so much hype, and the community being so excited in the chat, and the players all supporting each other. And of course, those of us live on a stream having a wonderful time. The EU community team is so much fun, and we've really had a blast getting to do it. So we'll have more tomorrow, but it was great so far. And we'll be doing the actual semifinals and finals live at FanFest in London, which you'll all be able to watch as well.
Heck yeah.
And Yoshi-P will probably be sitting on the floor watching them, just like he was in
And I bet if you asked, you could probably get a picture with Yoshida-san.
I always try very hard to get a picture with Yoshida-san, yes.
You should tell him the story of FanFest and how you were like the next one up. I bet he'd get a kick out of that.
He probably would. If we have a chance and a translator handy, absolutely, I will tell the story. I'm really looking forward to it, and to getting to meet all of the EU community team, and to getting to see so many folks that I know from EU. I've got a lot of viewers over there, and a lot of other fellow content creators and friends that are over there.
Like Lithy, so. I think Lithy's might be there, right?
Maybe.
Lithy's my co-caster.
Yeah.
I'm so excited. You all probably, if you're listening now, recognize Lithy, or may not even realize it, but do recognize Lithy. From the World Races with Mog Talk. We've both been able to be on those, and Lithy does a ton of work behind the scenes, helping with so many things for those big productions here in the 14 space, and is incredible on camera too. So we are the shoutcasting duo, the commentators together. And honestly, I've said it on social media, but I'll say it again. There's literally nobody that I would have wanted to be commentating this with more. Lithy and I just love Lithy so much. So there's a lot of good vibes all around, and games brought us together, just like 14 has brought so many of us together. But now we get to do this, and I'm so over the moon about it.
You two are killing it. I can't wait. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll check the VOD later. I woke up this morning and like time zones are a thing, because like Rook's in a different time zone than I am, and then EU is in a different time zone. So it's running from this to this. And I'm like, awesome. I wake up, I'm like, cool. It should still be. Oh, it ended half an hour ago. Okay, I guess I'll have to catch the VOD.
Catch that VOD. Catch that VOD.
Yeah, make sure that you watch them, because there were so many people who were just kind of chilling because they were at FanFest and they were like, well, PvP is happening. I'll give it a look. And it converted quite a few of them. Yeah. Right? You don't know how hype it is until you watch it. And then you want to be prepared for the finals, right? Just watch it. It's great. You'll see, like Rick said, really professional teams, and really, YOLO just going to go in and run headfirst into the woodchipper teams, which is fun too.
And then you'll just have like this John Dark Souls guy that just walks out in like a full helmet. Like,
Yeah,
what's the
exactly.
equivalent of that gonna be for EU? Is there gonna be
Ooh.
one?
Oh, I mean, there's some good
Mm.
options. There's some good options. One of the
Mhm.
teams I do really love, and I am hoping so much that they actually bring the mascot with them to FanFest.
Yeah.
There's a team Bullbonds who actually got their name Bullbonds Farm. Excuse me.
Mm.
Is it Bullbonds Farm? Hold on. Where are my notes? Where are my caster notes? Ranch. Bullbonds Ranch. Bullbonds
Okay.
Ranch. That actually have a mascot that is named after a little plush stuffed animal that's called Bobon, which was like given to them by one of their friends. It's like a little wolf stuffed animal that was given to them by one of their friends that they met through gaming when they moved in with their husband. And like it's kind of like a cozy rallying point and
Yeah.
mascot for all of them that reminds them of what brought them together in games and friendship. But they are also actually fierce competitors,
Right.
which is the best. But so many of the teams have little things like that, and we're doing the best that we can to bring those narratives to life. So if you start watching now, or if you catch up on those VODs, you'll have an idea of each of the teams and their personality coming into the semifinals and finals so that you can get even more hyped about it.
Right.
That's
You
really
can pick
cool.
a favorite.
Yeah. My reactions, it wasn't to that story. That was actually a really nice story. I'm just looking over in chat here. Lithy is over here, Rook, saying that ranch is a horrible condiment.
Lithy has some hot takes about white condiments in particular. Lithy hates sour cream. Lithy hates ranch.
Okay.
I don't understand it, and it's one of the few things that upsets me.
I'm on Team
What-
Lithy with this.
What about
No,
mayonnaise?
don't
Team
say
Lithy with
this.
What about
No,
mayonnaise?
see-
Where does that fall in the
Mayonnaise
is that just...
is all right for me.
Okay.
I don't want to speak for Lithy.
I'm not asking you, I'm asking Lithy.
Sure, that's true. I just
I
wanted
need
to
to
air
know
out
is
where I was.
all the white condiments are just mayo is all right, very situational. Okay.
Okay.
See,
all right.
I wholeheartedly agree. Wholeheartedly agree.
Okay.
For all
Right?
of our listeners after the fact, this is just a very important conversation happening back and forth
Absolutely.
with chat right now.
Absolutely.
If
I mean,
you've
you
ever
know-
turned into one of Rook's streams, I feel like at least once a month we just talk about how great ranch is. I feel like that's just it just somehow comes up. And so
See-
once I saw Lithy's fighting words in the chat, I was just like, whoa, hold on.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Just don't give me cold any of that. But when you warm it, it's also not great. So I don't know. I don't know. I'm with you.
Room temp?
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird.
It's
You
like
know,
sake. It has to be served at like the exact correct temperature
Right.
to be good.
It's like you get a burrito and you're like, it's a great burrito, and then there's this cold bomb in the middle of sour cream, and it's not right. It's not
true.
okay.
We made tacos last night, and yeah, I totally agree. That's that you just yeah.
So I think it's for me, it's the execution, right? of using these condiments. All right.
How are you using the condiments?
Please use your condiments responsibly, okay?
Just
Exactly.
put them on your plate or in a little cuppy. How are you using them that the execution of the condiment is a problem, Al? Do you know?
I mean, okay, so think about. I was trying to think of other white condiments, but that's okay. I think that I'll just think about a cake. When the frosting is all over the place, or it's frozen outside of a actual cake, so you have to like break through it. I don't know, man. There's just ways to use things. I don't want cold ketchup either on something. I'm just saying. It's just in general.
Okay.
Are we gonna agree to
what
disagree
if
here?
the fries are so hot that by the time that the ketchup covered fry gets to your mouth, it is no longer a distracting amount of coldness?
See, I shouldn't have even said ketchup because I don't even eat ketchup. So
I'm
that's
learning
another hot take.
all sorts of things
Wow.
about many people today.
That's another hot take. Yeah. Sorry.
Hot or cold take or
Cold take.
lukewarm room temperature
Yeah.
take? I don't.
This is about condiments. Nobody cares. It's okay.
Yeah, no, this is
It's just-
this is a Pikachu household over here. Ketchup is king. if you know, you know.
Yeah.
Pikachu likes ketchup.
I did not actually
It's
know
a
that.
it's
Is
a
that an
documented.
established-
Yes, it is. It
Yes.
absolutely is. Pikachu
Oh, boy.
loves his ketchup.
Okay. Is there a realm or possibility where the blush on his face is not actually some sort of little fur marking, but just ketchup that he got
Could be.
on his fur?
Could
Yeah.
be.
I think so.
I'd believe that. Yeah,
Okay.
that wouldn't be a hard sell.
Sure.
What were we
Well,
talking
yeah.
about?
Do we have ketchup in
CCRC,
the Eras yet? Anyway.
OCE. Tune in, watch it,
Yeah.
check it out during FanFest. Get excited about it. Hop in as well and do some PvP yourself. Don't be intimidated by it. Honestly, one of the teams that we had on today, such a blast. Absolutely love them. Degens Anonymous, and they
Like the name.
just like that. Yep. They came in and their goal, even from the semifinals, excuse me, the preliminaries that were before, was just to see how long they could survive the match. It wasn't about winning. It was, okay, we hit 1 minute. Okay, next time we'll do 2 minutes. Next time. And their goal for today was to hit 5. And they did fall short of it, but they really, really gave it their all. And they were already talking about like how much fun they were having and how much they were laughing about the whole thing. And how next time they're coming back and they're going to get that 5 minutes. And that's the kind of energy we need channeled into PvP. It becomes such a thing where people get really anxious, they get really stressed, they get really sweaty about it too. I get really sweaty about it, I'll admit it. But we have to remember that just like anything, it's a game. So have fun, smile, laugh. Each season is a fresh start, and it's definitely worth jumping in for the rewards and just to even, you know, get a little taste of it and then get to be in on these big hype moments as we get to see more with the tournaments and other things that are going on and the championship that'll be happening next month.
And
so
please submit your condiment related hot takes to them while they are streaming. Please do.
If even one person does it, like, mods are gonna be so confused. They're like, why is this person talking about ketchup all of a sudden? Nothing has prompted this.
There's no reason for this.
Yes, but absolutely, like, it's gonna be so cool. I'm so excited for you to and Lithy to get this opportunity. I can't think of two people better to do PvP casting in London. It's gonna be so cool.
Friend.
So cool. Okay. All right. So today, that's all the news. We're like 40 minutes in. That's the news. we had to catch up a little bit.
Fusion.
I was waiting.
Yeah.
If you didn't do it, I was gonna do it. Thank you.
I'm proud of you. I'm proud of Rook for getting to cast PvP. I'm proud of you for wanting to do the ketchup pun.
We're all winning here.
Everybody's a winner. All right, so the last episode we actually did, we were talking about our anniversary, our 14th anniversary of being a Final Fantasy 14 podcast, which is really weird when put right alongside the 10th anniversary of the game we podcast about. But right now, the Rising is going on, which is the anniversary event. They do a couple cool things this year. So in addition to getting the Phoenix mount, it's rare to get like such a cool mount like this. Like you see this mount, right? And you're like, oh, that's a cash shop mount. No, you could just get it. You do a couple quests, you talk to some people, and it's yours for the low price of nothing, which is really cool.
Braving Alda on Balmung at the very least. That's the price of it.
It's true. You do have to go into the quicksands. So just take a deep breath.
Warning there. Just a content warning.
You'll get through it. I believe in you.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought the quest line was really cool. This year they talk about the Forest of Letters, and you can go through after you do the kind of initial quest line, and you can see the letters from like the message board manager or they're really weird letters because like as I'm reading these, I'm like, you could just put like the dev on these, like that's okay. Like you don't need to try and make it like really weird. It's like it's still in game, and there was literally like a dev like office building one year for the Rising. Just put like the actual. It's the way that they were worded and stuff was kind of weird. Where it's like I'm trying to guess like which member of the development team it was, but it like didn't really mention real world stuff. It was kind of in worldy and weird. But it was okay. Like, you know, it's something different. I also really liked that they also had some extra quests after you do the Rising event.
Right, yes.
There's the Louis Swa quests as well after these. I was looking at the page for the Rising last night when I was doing these. Those quests were mentioned on the Rising page, weren't they? I feel like they were.
The additional Louis swap
Maybe
quest?
maybe I saw like a tweet or something because they're not listed on the event for the Rising, which feels weird.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they tell you at the tail end that like a few other things have unlocked for you. So I think they're assuming that that's supposed to be your queue. But
Yeah.
I do think it's super easy for people to miss.
Yeah.
And
Right.
you, especially with like the connotation of that mount and the fact that we literally saw that so much of the community, particularly newer players, have no idea who that mount is or what the context is. And honestly,
Well,
many
even
of
doing the
them,
quest,
sweet
they still
innocent
won't.
beings. Yeah, like, well, I mean, but you at least get introduced to
Sure.
like the threads that tie to that, right?
Yeah.
So that you have an idea of being like, oh yeah, Louis Swa played a role in this, and maybe if I go back and do binding coils, I'll figure out what that's all about, right?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
there's also a 10-year anniversary framers kit that you get for doing these two quests, where the background, it's like a red to white gradient, and then the frame overlays that white gradient a little bit, so you can do like the smile into the dissolve, like the end of an arrow video, which is freaking awesome.
It's very cool of them to
my
do.
adventure plate was just like a goofy, like I'm just kind of looking up and doing like the pucker face, so I just turned myself, so I'm just like going like this as it fades to white. It's really stupid looking, and I love it. So yeah, make sure to
very
go
Hildebrand, I think.
and
It's
do
on
that
brand for you.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
The NPC for that after you do the Rising quest, it's kind of right out in front of the Grand Company. He'll be standing there. I wish they would have like labeled him with like a 10th anniversary marker or something. It's just a normal quest
that's
marker.
true.
They could have done that better, especially if there's a 10-year anniversary like reward attached to it. Like, I wish they would have pointed it out more.
I'm really glad that they did it. I think you're right in that it needs more signposting, because who knew has gone back and done the binding coils to even know why Phoenix is a big deal.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, here's the problem with this though. Lore wise, and this will be spoilers, but also like this is 10 years old, right?
Yeah, true.
We know that like in the binding coil you run into Louis Swa, you get the whole story about how while fighting Bahamut he turned into the Phoenix using the hopes and prayers of everybody, and then as he kills Bahamut enthralls him and he's now in binding coil, and as you go through that you get that whole story. And our kind of like in lore, right? It's like you're down there with Alphino and Alice, and you're just like, we will not tell anyone about this. And so like going through and doing this quest, it's like, oh, I wonder what happened. And we're just kind of sitting there like, yeah, I don't know, man. That's
I have no idea.
Couldn't tell you.
It's like when we're talking about the Void and done the Void quest. No, I have no idea anyone who has done this research ever before. Nope.
Yeah, no, I've never been in here. I never found the
No.
Cloud of Darkness, or never been in here. But yeah, it's really interesting. Because even if you do all these quests, you still don't get anything that's like, you should do binding coil to learn more.
Right.
Like they've had like fourth wall little notes on things before. They could have done that or maybe there is, because I've done that stuff. So who knows? Maybe it's a situational text. But that would be cool.
Could be.
But yeah, go do that for sure.
Yeah. Another thing that I definitely wanted to talk about here is that it's a mount. Like the Phoenix is a mount, but it's not a mount. You just turn into it.
Yeah.
I know.
Which is wow.
It's
I
interesting.
love
That's pretty
it.
cool.
I am obsessed with it. I saw so many people just absolutely going wild when they realized that it wasn't just a mount, but that you become the Phoenix.
I'm shocked that Rook would be excited about a mount that just turns you into a Phoenix.
I mean, this is the first mount of its kind that we've had. Phoenix aside, right? We have not had a mount that does this kind of transformation before. And there are other games that have it. WoW has one where like you can turn into a mount and then a friend can even ride on you and you can
there
steal
are
around.
mounts where you don't see your character.
Well, but you go like into
Inside.
a thing or something else. This is that you literally have like a transformation. You become the Phoenix and then you are the Phoenix. And I think that is such a cool idea.
Yeah.
And it absolutely has my brain just like racing for anything where if they ever decide to give us some kind of Guardian Force thing, or if we ever see, you know, whatever the true form or whatever it is with a Zem and everything else, like they could have some really cool mount rewards and things along those lines, or I don't know, just anything that would lead us to
I
have
mean,
another kind
I'd
of
take
transformation.
I'd take like a
Yeah.
Quetzalcoatl mount like that. That'd be cool.
Sure.
I'd pay for that.
I mean,
because you know I
you
played
know.
8, so sure, why not?
I keep being a summoner main. I don't know why, but it hits a little different, you know. The Phoenix hits different when you do Binding Coil. It hits a little bit more different when you know you do everything in like Shadowbringers and Endwalker and really understand what was going on. And then for at least me as a summoner main, summoning the Phoenix and then turning into it, I'm just like, man, that is really cool.
Mhm.
And they missed a trick of like making it really known. Like they just give you the mount. They don't really say anything. But if like that guy who talks to you, I'm just gonna say that guy who talks to you during this quest, had said something about like embodying the spirit or something like that. That would my goodness.
Yeah.
Like it feels that
Didn't
way,
he,
but
though?
just tell people. I don't believe so.
Okay.
Right?
I mean, he talked
I don't
about
remember.
like hopes and
You remember
dreams and
dreams and things like that, but I don't believe
Okay.
that like signposting that like you are the part of the will of whatever. You know what I
Okay.
mean? Like
right.
I don't know. I just
I
it
wanna
hit
see-
extra hard.
I want to see
Yeah.
Alpha Noah and Allie say now. Just use the mount in front of them. Be like,
Yeah.
dude, what the hell?
I mean,
thought
yes,
we
there is
agreed
that
we weren't
kind
gonna-
of concern, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think if I had to nitpick about anything, it would be just like when I'm flying the Phoenix mount, all I see is blue glowing feathers. I don't see any of like the red of the actual Phoenix. It's just like
Sure.
feather butt. I have to like pan my camera around
Well, that's
to
why
see
you have
like
to
the rest of
dramatically
it.
pan your camera
Yeah.
around. Yes,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just part
At
of
all
it.
times.
If you don't even fly dramatically while panning your camera, like, are you even on a flying mount? Like,
No, I thought this was really sweet. I liked that they included the bonus stuff
Mhm.
as well. I like the messages. I just can't help it with the Rising. Anytime that it's like, here I strum my harp, and then you go
Mhm.
into that other world that might
Yeah.
be I immediately start to just tear up. I can't help it. There's no, I know what's coming.
Right.
I know Yoshida-san is about to talk to us all
Mhm.
directly, and that it's gonna make me cry every single time. Like one of these times, literally, we could go in there and he could be like, "Psych," and I would still be crying, and then like leave. I think this is something too. I've seen a lot of players who this is their first Rising,
Mhm.
and a lot of people who came in even with you know, with Endwalker and were drawn in by that or have been playing through and doing their full playthroughs now. And it always strikes me, particularly with the Rising events, how touched people are by
Mhm.
it. Because I remember my first Rising, and I remember the first time that I teared up when Yoshida-san looked directly in the camera and said thank you to all of us in this digital world that we share. And I remember thinking about how special that was and how rare it was to have a game where the developers care and put so much of themselves into it that they literally reach out from the game to us to say thank you for playing what we've made. And I just like every single time I do find it just as wonderful and just as humbling. But even seeing new players come through that and tweet out something like, "Oh my gosh, I did the Rising event and they said thank you." Like the devs said thank you to us, and
Right.
and you see it every time, and just how much that means to the players to even in that one little space have a connection to what's on the other side of the game that we play and we love,
Mhm.
and what's creating that game for us, as we all kind of meet in the middle from our experiences to the things that are being created for us to experience. It's just, oh, it's always special.
Even in my jaded, kind of tired of the game, heart of hearts, there was a little bit of a spark when it happened.
Sure.
A little one.
There was a
We'll see if it
line
catches.
that totally not Naoki Yoshida said,
Mhm. Yeah.
where he's like, "I'm glad you're having fun, and even with you're not, you're still saying you're enjoying yourself," or something. I was like,
Mhm.
I don't know about that. It's kind of you're assuming. Right,
I
right.
mean,
Just
that's
the idea that we are all a little tired and wiped out, right, at this point, right?
sure.
So I was like, that's kind of a weird
Yeah,
line to
I
me.
think what I took away from that line, I think I actually screenshotted it because
Mhm.
I
Okay.
really liked it personally.
Sure.
Yeah.
Was that, he was saying, we've been on a long journey and obviously we're 10 years into the game and like wherever you are right now in that,
Mhm.
like, whether you're feeling fatigued with it, whether, you've got a lot of critiques, whether, you feel burnt out, whether you feel like we're in that patch content lull, whether, I mean, like it felt like an acknowledgement of that feeling.
Sure.
And him
Okay.
saying that he still found it humbling that regardless, even if players, are saying like, I'm taking a break from the game or I'm not feeling certain things,
Mhm.
that he's always touched by the fact that oftentimes they will still say to him, but
I see what you
my
mean.
time in the game, I still treasure it. Like I still
I
value
see.
it.
Okay.
And
Okay.
like I
Even if it's
love,
past tense, even if
yeah,
it's just,
yeah,
I'll come back and see the story. I think
yeah.
I found the line. So it says, by now I must have been regaled with tens of thousands of your tales. You usually share them with a smile, but even when it's with a frown, you tell me that you're still enjoying yourself.
Oh,
Right.
Oh, that
see,
was
I
it.
started
You
tearing up
did it.
again.
You
Yeah.
did it.
Started tearing up
You
again.
broke her.
Yeah, and I think you can even interpret that with something like if people are going through hard times, right? Or
Mhm.
like whatever it is, there's still that sentiment of all of us being happy to have had 14 or be playing 14
Mhm.
or, be connected to 14. Whether it's, something with the game itself or it is something with like your own personal life.
Mhm.
Yeah, I thought that was such a sweet line, honestly.
There was also the new mini game that came out this
Oh
year
yeah.
as well, where it's like how'd you just like a breakout kind of like
Yeah, kind of.
like a breakout flipped on its side, but with like some RPG elements to it. That was interesting. I did like a full run through of that. It wasn't
Yeah.
like super hard or anything, but it was cool. It was something different. Um, let's see what else was there.
I
Man,
always like
that
when
was
they
like
remind us that mini games exist and
Right.
that you can
Yeah.
you can play them using the toy
go to the
chest in your
toy
in-room.
chest.
Yeah.
We made all these random.
They exist.
There's like a first person one. There's a side scroller with a Spriggan. There's and one of these days, maybe Final Fantasy 1 through 6. Who knows? They need to find that
Oh, boy.
engineer. Maybe one of these days. Middleware and middleware and middleware. They'll make it work. Yeah, I mean, I think that was it for the Rising. I was a little bummed like we haven't gone back to like the developer floor like they did
Yeah.
in one of the first few years. I think that was really cool. I think that would have been a really cool way to do the 10th anniversary.
Yeah. Because that's my memories of any developer content in any games is old school RPGs and the developer room that you secretly find, and
Yeah,
you'll have a few messages, and that one really that I will always remember that one because I was not expecting them to do that in an MMO,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Because that's just it's old school. I love it.
Yeah, I much prefer that method instead of the like. Maybe this letter's from Soken, but I don't know. Maybe he's like the sound, the theater sound guy or whatever the,
Yeah.
the note was labeled as. It was a little weird. Like
Yeah, it
like,
gives us something to
just
speculate about, though.
yeah,
A little,
yeah.
only a little bit.
yeah.
I like trying to guess who's who.
Yeah.
And I think there's something lovely and transient about that as well, right? I
Mm.
mean, I can definitely see your point on it, Fusion, in that, I mean, yeah, you can just tell us which dev or whoever it
It's
is.
okay.
I mean,
You can ruin my immersion. You already are
you
for the
can-
Rising event. Like
you
you're
can do
already
it.
breaking that wall.
You could literally
True.
put a line in where, the minstrel just says something like, and these strange letters from another time and place, or like whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I do also kind of like a bit of a sense of the anonymous in a way,
Mhm.
almost, because even like going through the quest, where, you're trying to put together who was this person that I met
Yeah.
on my journey, who was this particular character, who, what random NPC did I save 8 years ago
Mhm.
that like would feel compelled to write about how that was so meaningful to them. And in a sense, I did kind of like the anonymity in that way because I
Mhm.
think it gives almost a feeling of the same feeling that I get when I listen to Flow or I think about like I don't know, spirits returning to the live stream or like whatever it is
Right.
there. The fact that in our short lives, we may or may not always know or recognize each other. Like we may have known each other very well, we may not. When whatever happens after, you know, we all end up in the same place, but our sentiments and our feelings and the things we leave behind still leave their own mark, be it in the hearts of others or in things like the letters, right? Writing,
Would you say that Mark is
documents.
kind of like an echo of
Oh
yourself?
yeah, kind of like a little
Kind
bit.
of like
Yeah,
a
like a
little
little
bit,
bit of
yeah.
an echo. Yeah.
Little thing.
So I kind of felt like it gave a sense of that almost,
Yeah.
where, you know, it's like people and adventurers or things that you've met along the way, even if you don't realize it. Those who have a hand in the game that you enjoy, in the world that you enjoy, even if you may have never really met them. So yeah, I don't know. I could play it. I could see it played off that way too.
Yeah.
I just love that
And
we
I-
got that deep B name character lore. But they might, you know, no matter where you start in the game, and then in Shadowbringers, the first
Oh,
person
yes.
you meet
Yeah.
has a name that starts with a B. And it's like, I gave you a ring, and like I sold a bunch of them, and I have my own carriage now. I'm like, good for you,
Yeah.
B name guy. I'm like, yeah.
I kind of hope we see. Oh my goodness, is his name Nagi, the
Yeah.
Mikote from this quest? Like that would be cool. I didn't really care too much about that story, but you can make me care about it if you continue it, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
Somehow, somewhere, rising 3 years from now or something. Just
There
bring
you
him
go.
back.
Yeah. Okay, so that was the Rising. We're just gonna open this sucker up. 10 years of Final Fantasy
10
14. Technically, it's
10 years.
It's 13, but it's 10. But it's 13, and we're 14.
It's valid for large values of 10.
So yeah, I mean, just any favorite memories of just like the game. I wanted to share that I had kind of pop up on my timeline because this was at PAX. So for when A Realm Reborn came out, they had a PAX launch event like the week of official release. They had I think they had like a bigger early access window for 2.0. But one of the things that I remember is before the event, we collected messages from players and we gave them to Yoshida-san. I went to like FedEx. I'm like, yo, I just want you to print all these, like put them in a binder. And yeah, we had like it was like 1,700 messages that we were able to like just thank you messages for, you know, because this was 2.0, right? This was like, you brought our game back to life, yay! Like, so that was really cool. That PAX launch event. And I think I've talked about this the last episode as well. It's one of my favorite events I think that I've ever been to for this game. Really small because like at this point they're like, we don't know if people are gonna come back to this game,
right?
And then they were having like login issues because they didn't have enough servers for people to play. Yeah, just like a really cool like small scale chill event. This is the one where like Yoshida made fun of me after I fell off while fighting Titan. And then my wife embarrassed me further. Just like we interviewed Yoshida and Soken, and Soken like in the interview like sang the Fate music for the Hildebrand Fate, like just lots of really stupid like awesome things from this event. And I think it's probably gonna be for me one of the most memorable things for this game is going to that PAX launch event for 2.0.
I mean I could definitely understand that because it was a completely different time in the game's life cycle, right? It was just, there's nothing wrong with the success that we got. The success is great, but right after bringing it back to see what happens, right? Like they didn't know, they had no idea, and they were just doing it to do it, right? They wanted to follow through. And then I'm sure when they got to that event and saw those people, that I'm sure they remember that forever, right?
Yeah.
It's so hard just picking and choosing as we were thinking about what memories we could share. Maybe not in actual letters, but you know, like, but with our words that we write in the air using our vocal cords, our voices on the podcast today. I mean, there are so many memories, big and small. I mean, you talk about a big event, Fusion, and my mind was immediately going through any number of small interactions that I've had with people over the years. The very first screenshot sesh that I ever took in the game, like G-pose sesh, I'm
Yeah.
talking. Not just the sheer amount of pictures that I was screen capping of my character's face, but an actual sesh. I remember I was playing with a good friend of mine who to this day is still wonderful. We witnessed their wedding during the pandemic when they came to Chicago, and they were like, "Hey, please, we need somebody to witness us getting married. We would love for it to be you, but we can't stay apart," because at the time they were living between Canada and the US. And one of them, Isaac, they're both on my moderation team, but Isaac was one of the first people that I ran around and played 14 with. And I have just the fondest memories of playing me, Bebop, and Isaac early on. And we were outside of the Waking Sands from one of the many times that we pray returned to it. And we were all sitting on like the little ledge right outside of the front door. And I just started taking pictures. And I still have those screenshots to this day of the like OG pictures I took. And I remember just feeling so happy, just like so content, all of us just being there together, taking these pictures of these characters and these avatars that we had. From that to then like in Heavensward with a friend of mine, we were grinding relics together, scientist who's also on my moderation team. We got so good at Dunscape. We would co-heal that sucker, and we must have run it a million times. I mean, I would do streams, be like, "What are you doing? We're running Dunscape." We'd be off stream, we'd be like, "Hey, what you doing? You want to run Dunscape?" Like, we were just grinding it out for relics, but also because we genuinely enjoyed it, and we would co-heal it. And we got so good at just that one ridiculous 24-man. It was so hard on initial release compared to many of the 24-mans. Like,
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
wipe on wipe on wipe on wipe. And the sheer amount of times that one of us or the other got to bust out that "we have saved the day, we have saved everything" healer limit break. To this day, like, I can still see us in the arena, like, glowing with divine light, that final platform, Diablo's having killed everyone. One of us is the last person standing, and we get that limit break off. We're both, like, yelling in chat about it, like, over our Discord, and I mean, it's just so many small memories like that. And of course, there are big ones too, but oftentimes when I think back on those little small moments in my adventures, it's just little glimpses like that and the feelings that I had with the people that were a part of it at the time, you know?
Yeah, I definitely, I am kind of on the podcast. I am that
Are you?
hard raider guy, right? I don't care about the game. That's not actually true. I feel like I may convey that from time to time. It's true. I love raiding. But I think the big memory that I remember the most is not even getting to go to the media tour, because that was very cool. Getting to go to it twice, I think. Yes.
Yep.
It was afterwards because I went to the media tour. We have some time. There's usually a time between when we go and when we can put out the articles. And I had gone on a trip and I came back and I was like, oh man, I have to go through every job now
I do
and write
remember
down
that.
all the
Yeah.
things. And my goodness, I was up for 24 hours because I had landed, and we could post the next day, and I'm like, I got so many things to do. And I remember Zen was putting together kind of the graphics of all the tooltips and things like that. And I just remember going through and trying to remember all of the things that I had seen, and all the notes that I had, all the stuff that I knew people would be excited about, and the stuff that I knew that they wouldn't. And trying to get that together. And then I think I was like, okay, it's done. Here you go. Here's all of it. And I crashed super hard. And then I woke up 15 minutes later, looked at my phone, and there was some question. I don't remember what the heck it was. And I just answered it and fell right back asleep. I don't even remember what the heck it was. Like, it was like, oh no, we need them for something. I woke up, I answered it, I went back to sleep. And when I had woken back up, they had already gone live. And I remember, Fusion, you were like, people are reading the hell out of this. Like, and I think that may have been like the second, maybe it was the first time I did it, but I don't know how many times there was like coverage for every single job in depth like that. And it was just so fun reading people's responses, like, oh yeah, that's right, or oh, you messed that up from the tooltip, and I'm like, it's in progress. I'm sorry. Trying to do that because that is how I got started in MMOs. Not writing guides, but writing guides for my team in WoW. Back in the Elitist Jerks days, I would go. That forum. Anyway, and I mean the director of WoW was just on Elitist Jerks. He was in that guild. You know what I mean? Like that is where it came from. And I just remember going there, learning how every class played, and making a guide for it. Like, these are things to watch out for. And I just remember going, man, I do actually miss doing this. But maybe not at that timeline. Maybe not with that timeline.
Oh, media
That was
tour.
insane. Oh,
Fusion
yes.
and I were talking about this actually when I was out visiting. I did my first media tour leading up into Endwalker. So
Mhm.
you both have been, at them
Mhm.
for years now, but the very first one that I was invited to was that Endwalker media tour, which I mean is like a wild banger to be invited to. Although of course it was during the pandemic, so
Mhm.
it wasn't one of the ones
Little
where we were able
subdued.
to attend.
Back in
Yeah,
our
like
day, they did these in person.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm really hoping that, this next one will be in person, and
Mhm.
that theoretically we'll all be invited back to it. Who knows? We'll see.
Yeah.
But it's something that I truly, and I said this to Fusion and I stand by it, I think it is the most grueling and
Yes.
rewarding thing
Yeah.
ever in any of content creation that I've done, because
Mhm.
you have, for those who don't know, when you're a part of the media tour, which is basically when Square Enix invites various media outlets and content creators to get a bit of a controlled preview of what's coming up with the expansion, you then have 2 weeks to turn around and do all of that and disseminate all of the hours of footage that you clocked in a marathon, to try
Mhm.
and break it all apart, to write scripts, to record things. If you're a content creator in particular, if you are editing videos, if you are doing,
Yes.
I was working with a team of multiple editors and had like 50 spreadsheets that were just like,
Mhm.
we're on phase this of this. This is complete. I did that. This script is done. Audio recordings are here. This is here. This is that. And even with both of you, where I was so grateful because the Gamerscape fam was there too. We're like, everybody, not just even Gamerscape, but
Yeah.
everybody's trading stuff. Like, did you get a screenshot of X? Did you see this? What did you
Mhm.
find? Do you have any extra footage? Would you mind sharing it? I'll give you credit. Do you like,
Yeah.
and it is just, I mean, talk about no sleep, Aldiano. I
Mhm.
have never worked such long hours. Like,
Yeah.
I usually do spend a lot of the hours of my day doing something for creation, adjacent to
Yeah.
creation, whatever it is, social media, anything, live streaming itself. But I was like literally waking up, all I would do the entire day for like 12 plus hours was just that media tour. Then I'd get a handful of hours of sleep. Then the whole thing would repeat. Those last couple days, I barely slept. The night of, I didn't sleep because we knew the embargo is lifting at
Mhm.
X time. Everybody's staying up to make sure that all the videos,
Yep.
all the tweets, everything goes out on time. Everything is ready. And that feeling at the end of it, when you see it all go up and you're just like,
And now I sleep.
Mhm.
and now I die. Like, it's just
Yeah.
like,
And I mean, talking about like sharing stuff, and I mean this time around too, I mean there was the benefit too, a little behind the scenes stuff.
Yes.
In early media tours, I think this started with, gosh, because the one for ARR was vastly different. But probably like
I'm sure. Yeah.
Heaven's Word or Stormblood is when everyone's like, we're just gonna take pictures of all the tooltips, all the
Mhm.
traits, all the everything. And so that was a lot of the behinds, like, shoot, I forgot I missed a screenshot of like
Yep.
provoke. Did they change provoke? Does anybody have a screenshot of the tooltip for provoke? And it's just like really crazy, wild little things like that.
Yeah.
That was just really funny. But yeah, I mean, gosh, the 2.0 media tour, I remember getting flown out to San Francisco for that. This is kind of gross, but this is something that does stand out for me as something memorable.
Uh-huh.
I remember at the time, gosh, who was the president of SEA? I think it was like Mike Fisher. He also had like a cameo in that. There was that weird, was it Quantum Shift game or something that came out? Anyway,
Oh yeah.
I remember
Okay.
on Facebook following some of the community team people. Someone's like, "Man, like we were walking down and there's just like this big old pile of dog poop, like just right on the sidewalk." And the the president of Square Enix was like, "That wasn't from a dog."
Yeah.
And I don't know why
Yeah.
that's the thing that stands out the most. But it was a cool little venue. It was just like this really small venue. They had like a meeting room, and then they had a station with 4 PCs. And it's like we ran like Toto Rack, like the community team members are like playing, and like it was like Foxconn was playing. I think this was when Bethany was still at Square. She's she's at Blizzard doing WoW now.
Cool.
But yeah, it was a really cool little event. I mean, I remember like nowhere near the amount of like, you know, we didn't record footage, but I took notes. Of, like, we were walking around like Lenosia. I'm like, oh, the Salt Strand, this is a cool looking thing. I'm like making a note about the Salt Strand being cool. And it's like, it's just like, it's whatever. Like there might have been a couple quests that go there, but it like wasn't anything, you know, it's just like the idea of like with 2.0, there's like cool little things to see sprinkled around. Like, oh, what is this? I'm like, oh, we can, as a botanist, I can attack things with my axe now instead of throwing rocks. Like just stuff like that.
Right. And trying to collect it all to disseminate to people like that, to me is, I don't know, that's the job, right? But it's also a privilege because you get to go to the place, but it kind of reinforces the whole meta conceit of this game, right? Like you got to see it, you are distilling it and then disseminating it to people so that they can get hype or, you know, discuss whatever. It might not be that hype, but I don't know, there's just that feeling just really reinforces the themes of the game, you know, and the fact that it's a lot of work doesn't even matter at that point. Like, doesn't even matter.
I mean, it's like work is work, right? But if it's something that you enjoy doing, then that's a little different. Like, I know Heavensward Media Tour, they only did what, like, so typically now, right? They'll do a media tour for NA, EU, and JP. For Heavensward, I think it was like they did one, and it was in a castle somewhere in France. So we
please, would love to do
right?
that.
Like that's really they were actually going to do a live letter from there, but like they couldn't get a good signal, so they had to like go into town to like do the live letter. But then we did Stormblood, and I, you know, it's when Rook was in town for PAX, I was actually showing her. I still have the printouts they let us keep of the job gauges, when job gauges were like this new thing. And yeah, it's wild looking back at some of that stuff to see how things have changed and the way that coverage has changed. Because like during, you know, the first 2 media tours, they didn't let us take footage, right? And as soon as you're like, all right, we'll let you take some video or screenshots, it just the whole thing blew up, and everything is getting like a magnifying glass put on it with like a microscope on top of the magnifying glass. So they it's wild. So those have always been really cool events to go to. I still remember the I think it was the one for Shadowbringers, where we went in for the you know, we're like, oh, okay, this expansion, it's focusing on like how the light is like taking over and all this stuff. And we go into the room where they're doing the interviews, and the one window, even though the curtains are closed, just this light is just beaming in. I'm like, very on brand, nicely done.
And since it was in San Francisco, there was just the perennial fog, so the whole sky was just light at that point. There's no sun in any direction, it's just light from the sky. That's it.
And
so
then,
that's why that
and then Shadowbringers comes out, and you play it, and you realize they kind of dressed up the venue like the strip club in Yulmore.
Which was a little weird.
Okay.
But, okay. I'm alright. That's fine.
I mean, it's a party.
Yeah, it's a party.
Why not? Go for it.
Yeah.
I mean, there are so many great in-person or like live event things with 14 and with FanFest and with media tours. But I'm curious, what are some of both of your favorite memories in game that you've made in the last 10 years?
Gotta be the one that stands out to me is older than 10 years old because it was the end of 1.0.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I've talked about it a whole lot. I played 1.0. I did not enjoy it at the very beginning. I was in the beta. I was like, okay, this could be good. No, I was in the alpha, then the beta. And then it started, and I was like, okay, here we go. It's going to be great. And that lasted a week and a half. And then I went, nope, not going to play this game. But, you know, my partner started to play mostly the RP because that was mostly all you had to do.
Nope, you had to make your own fun back then.
Yeah. And I was a little bit, I wouldn't say upset at that, but I was like, man, this game, I can't get away from it because now people are playing it and now I got to hear about it and it still isn't better. What are they even going to do? And, you know, they start to talk about what they're going to do to fix it, the change in direction and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I still don't believe it. It wasn't until that night of the Battle of Cartano, which is weird to say because it feels like it was a real life thing to happen, right?
Right. I remember staying up during the Battle of Cartano.
Yeah. But myself, my partner, Zanidra, and a couple other people who we know online were in one place to see it. We were in her apartment at the time. And I remember all of us watching it together on one screen that someone, you know, was playing on, like probably a CRT monitor with speakers with the music out. And at the end of that cutscene with Louis Suave, you know, fading to white, I'm like, holy, what? They actually did it. They are actually doing this. Not since, this is very old, a very old memory, but it's a fun one. The Matrix Online. It's a very old memory.
Yes.
That didn't do very well.
Which is a bummer because they tried some baller things in that game, like
really cool stuff.
NPCs controlled by actual people.
Yep.
Like they tried some really cool things in that game.
Yeah. The end of the beta, I will never forget because it was an event. They were like, we're destroying this version of the Matrix and starting another one. And like things went wild. The sky was just eyeballs. And like every once in a while, a pillar of light would fall on a character and they would be attacked by the machines. Like all of the agents. And when they died, they turned into an agent. So everyone who's playing right now has to deal with this. So you're running around trying to save each other. You're going to die. That's it, right? At the very end, they had a actual animation that they made where your character folds in on itself. Like you just get imploded and then server turns off.
That's so cool.
And I will never forget that night because I'm like, holy crap, what's going to happen next? Like, I guess when the game comes out, it's going to be different, but same energy as that night, the Battle of Cartano fades to white, and then it's just Final Fantasy XIV screen. Like, what the heck are they even?
The lag and the frame rate were probably a little better in the Matrix Online than the battle.
Only a little bit.
It was chugging that night.
Yeah, it was.
Oh my goodness.
I would just lose it if they ever did something like that again.
Right.
Not even that it would have to be a full-on, you know, we're completely scrapping the game, starting over sort of situation. Right. But to have something like that where they indicate, you know, something's coming. And then there is some moment where it's like over the course of a week or whatever, they have like different nights, or it's so hard to be like, there could only be one night. And then if you didn't experience it, you didn't experience it. But 14 is one of those games where the story and everything else is so good that if they were to do something like that, if they were to have some kind of situation where like for a day everybody had to come together again, or if they had a couple multiple times over like a week that this thing would happen and everybody got to witness something again, and like they could preemptively plan a way so that other players could experience it or have a video of it or something of it, you know, down the road. But to have that kind of live interaction event again where everybody has a reason to come together and experiences it together, oh, it would be so good. I would have chills. I would just become chills. It would be incredible.
I mean, that's why I remember, I will never forget WoW, some moments in WoW, the opening the gates of Anchorage. Like the first day of Next Ram. I mean, the plague that actually happened and killed a bunch of people. I mean, like, those events really, it's hard to do. And there's a lot of FOMO. And especially nowadays, they would be accused of fostering FOMO and this and that. Like, if I wasn't subscribed, then I'll never see it again. And I understand that, and I definitely empathize with that. But
Yeah.
those events are you will never forget them ever.
I mean,
They're so impactful.
It was so wild. I mean, I remember that night, right? The Battle of Cartno, where everyone's
Mhm.
like, where do we go? Because there's also the stuff happening in Ul'dah with like just
Right.
monsters attacking, and like you could like
Tomos.
go to bed at the inn and then like wake up with a relic that you found under the bed because we're not saving character data anymore. Here's a relic weapon, which back then were harder to get.
Yeah.
And it's
Well,
just like
especially harder than now.
yeah, I mean, we had
Yep.
Atomos showing up at Aetherytes. Like, what is happening? Like, things were just going nuts. You had, like, GM-controlled NPCs walking around saying the end is near. And then you get to that point where the servers go down, and then you see that video, and you see Bahamut.
Mhm.
And it's so wild looking
I
back.
had no idea.
They gave us hints. But
Yeah.
we didn't see them, right? Because everything is just crazy. It's the end of the world, whatever. But then you just see this thing, you're just like, oh shit. Like
What?
yeah, it's just it was yeah, it's hard because especially nowadays, and I'm a big advocate too, like FOMO sucks. Like it's not something you want in your games. A lot of this is because I do play a lot of Destiny 2 when I have time. And they have done similar things as well. Like a couple years ago, there was like this giant spaceship that was in the original D2 campaign.
Right.
And it was like gonna crash into the earth. And some stuff happened. You were able to kind of like misdirect it a little bit, but it still crashed. But like you could go into the like the hub for Destiny 2 and watch as it came down. Like stuff like that is so cool. But it's I don't there's gotta be a way to do it. I think do like have it be like a seasonal event type of thing, maybe, where say, it goes live at this, you do the thing, you get a cutscene. And it's they'd have to do it in a way where it doesn't like download the data, right? Because everybody's gonna DAP mine the hell out of that.
Oh yes,
I remember they got furious when people DAP mined when the Turn 12 cutscene came out. People DAP mined that and put that sucker up like immediately, and it was getting taken down left and right on YouTube. But yeah, I mean, just do like a stream for it or something, like feed it through the client. Like I think that's how they did End of an Era. Was it? Or was it just on YouTube after? I forget.
Oh.
I remember it playing.
I remember going back and like rewatching it, so it must have been on YouTube like right away as well.
Yeah, I think it was right away in their normal way now. Yeah. With like trailers and such.
Yeah, it would
like you'll see it immediately at FanFest.
I think there's a way they could do it, even if like you just had some kind of small solo instance thing that conveyed the same point that then led to like the cutscene that players after the fact could see. But if you were like there in the game at the time that it was happening, you would have all those other interactive things going on. You'd have, whatever, stuff or things that were popping up, additional events, stuff that you could do. So like you would still get a summarized version of it, but you would then also be able to have had that experience. I do think of something that comes to mind about that experience, because I wasn't there obviously for that destruction since I came in later, since I came in Heavensward era. But one thing that has given me a similar feeling was watching teams prog DSR and DSR Ultimate.
Yeah.
Because since that's sort of in its own bubble, right? And it's its own thing, they were able to do this totally buck wild alternate telling of time, right? Watching all of the players puzzle it out, being there with the commentators, discussing what was happening, trying to theorize about what if. And that moment when we saw and we realized you do have to save Horschiffant, you have to save him, or you time loop forever, is something that I think gave me a very similar feeling to that. Like, this was a wild reveal, shared experience that everybody kind of collectively, from those who were live on the broadcast watching it to all of the ripple effect through social media and everything else that we saw after that, that was probably one of the biggest moments collectively of a kind of reveal thing that I've experienced in 14, other than just an expansion drop or
Right.
Sure.
possibly only rivaled by the reveal of Amarot in
Sure.
Shadowbringers.
Yeah. That's another
as
one.
like as everybody experienced that
Yeah.
together, and at that time I was there with friends, and I was there with
Mhm.
Bebop, my partner, and when we first were like really discovering this, that was another moment that I really remember being like a holy, this
Yeah.
changes everything
I
forever
am
kind of moment.
embarrassed that I had
Yeah.
forgotten about that. Yeah, I mean, aside from like the 1.0 stuff, yeah, I mean, the Amarot reveal, right? It's just you come
Sure.
out, there's the ledge, it's just full ass city underwater. You're like, what? I mean, I'm not over here with like my colored bulbs. I'm like, okay, we'll get some green, some turquoise, some blue over here. I'm like totally like I would like just push a button. I had a light theme named Amarot. I would just like crank up full Fathom 5 and just like chill. Like that was like a lot of my Shadowbringers time.
And oh, go ahead.
No, I'm good. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say we've had a lot of those moments in this game. Amarot, of course, end of an era, but even stuff like Elidibus and 5.3, right?
Yeah.
Like just those reveals and the culminating moment, the end of Shadowbringers at all, right? The reveals that we got, because even though we're not doing it at exactly the same time, since we're doing it kind of in eras, like we all feel that. Like
Yeah.
we all felt Endwalker at the same time. Maybe different paces, but it's just that finality, because this game is not quite seasonal. It's not at all. But because of the release cadence and the way people are pushed through the game and everyone wants to do the story, they have a unique kind of experience in that way that WoW's trying to emulate now, and they're doing a good job of that. They're getting better at it at the very least, but it's very, very hard to do. And as you said, Fusion Destiny also did something like that, and I really think that gives you so much juice in an online game where everyone's experiencing the same thing, and you just give them something they didn't think about.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
And I think it's interesting too that you mentioned that it's not seasonal, but I think at least from a narrative perspective, while there are people that will come in late, I think there I think absolutely is that idea of like new patch drops, new season dropped, everybody's gonna just gun it and like that week get it done. It almost feels like it could be played in a seasonal type of way, right?
Right.
But gosh, I still remember the patch trailer for 5.3. Because we also had I think Boja was we were still doing like some Boja stuff, but I remember
Heroes Gauntlet, we were like, what the heck is this?
In the trailer when because like trailers are always fun because it's like you get a couple scenes, but then you also are like, here's some of the new music, and they did a clip of To the Edge. And I remember watching this trailer several times, and I'm like, I've heard this melody before. What is this melody? I'm like, that's Amarot. Oh. So I'm like, they rearranged this, did some rock, and added lyrics. Like, sign me the hell up. Like, oh my gosh. And then you learn at that fan fest afterwards what Soken was going through when he was working on that, and it just compounds it even more. I think still to this day, and it's gonna be really hard to top. To the Edge is my favorite track from this game, for just reason upon reason.
Yeah.
It's so good. It's so good. I mean, you all know I'm an Answers fan. That song never fails to get me. I literally have just been idling during the Rising that's been going on, just there in the plaza, because there's that haunting version of the of Answers that plays.
Do you know how that was originally used?
It was used in the final moments, right? Like in the like just impending
everywhere you went.
1.0.
That was the music. There was no more like happy Twilight over Thanalan. It was just that everywhere.
It's so good. It's so cool. I mean, I just love it.
One of the things too that yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I was gonna say, I think the music is in many ways its own memory. In 14, like when you first experienced it, I will never forget the first time you hear that "Now Fall." Like, It's
Mhm.
just ingrained. It is ingrained. And when we were, I think, going through for the first time with the story stuff with Alexander, I remember for so long people would just like, I don't know, I'd be like hanging out with people in voice, whatever, and I'd hear the forward and back, the forward.
Oh
Mhm.
my
And I was like, what are
god.
you all doing? And then we finally got into Alexander, and I was over there pulling out my trumpet, like, "Bah, bah, bah, bah,"
I was
like just
Yeah.
on Cruise Chaser for like months. So like
Sure,
I
yeah.
love that song, but also like, oh my god.
You mean you don't want to go forward and back
Not
through this
not
phase
not
again,
not as
over and
much
over again?
as you may think after trying to prog that for song. But like
Yeah.
with the Rising event this year, with the Louis Swat quest in particular, you go around to all the
Mm.
grand companies, and when you talk to the NPCs, they play
Yeah.
the 1.0 music from each area. Um oh man, I used to know the name of the one in Gridania.
I would
One of
not know
it
that.
it is one of my favorite 1.0 tracks. It's like the Gridania music, the not the original like boring like Emerald Labyrinth one. It's the one that they added in later. Like that, the
Hmm.
Corthus music, like my favorite 1.0 tracks. But yeah, they play that track and I'm just like, "Oh, you need to use this more." Like cuz they don't really use that. This was a track
Fair, yeah.
that they added with the patch when they added dungeons. We didn't have dungeons. And so they
Yep.
added this, and there we got to a point like as you're going out to it, where the music switches to this newer track, and I just remember hearing it for the first time, like, ooh, like this is, I
Yeah.
like this. I don't know if it was Soken. It might have been Kumi Tanioka,
Mhm.
because they had a couple other people working on some stuff. But yeah, it's just, I love that track, and I'm so glad they brought it back. But I'm like, also use this more. Like they've reused the Corthus 1.0 music a lot in cutscenes. I think starting
Yeah.
in like Stormblood, they started using it a lot. But you don't get that 1.2 or whatever Gridania
Yeah,
music
most
or the
likely.
Black Shroud music. Yeah, use that
Yeah.
more. Like it's so good. Um,
I started in Gridania in 1.0, funnily enough, and I'm like, I kind of remember, but I didn't play until Dungeons came out. Like I said, I bounced right off.
yeah, yeah, it's such a nice track.
Hmm.
Gosh, other things. I mean, first Fan Fest is always like, right, it's the first, but
Sure.
also Heaven's Word as a 1.0
Heavens were
player.
revealed.
Because for all of 1.0, we're walking around Corthus, like this big beautiful green area, which we need, bring back no snow Corthus Square if you're listening. Please and thank you.
Yeah.
We got, there's more areas to Corthus that are still around, right? Surely one of them isn't covered in snow. Bring back the music. Anyway, but yeah, we're, the areas in 1.0 were huge, right? Because they weren't sectioned off like they are now. They're like, we're gonna make
Hmm.
giant ass zones, and then we'll have like little loading corridors. So it's like you'll go
Yeah.
from one part of the map to another, and it's just like this little narrow like canyon, and then it's technically the same zone but a different zone.
Hmm.
But I mean, all throughout 1.0, we're like, there's Ishgard. What is Ishgard?
right
What's
there.
it gonna be? I mean, from an 11 point of view, we're like, is that our Juno? Is that gonna be
Yeah,
like the new
sure.
hub for all the cities? Like, what's going on? And then we never got to it. And so that Heaven's Word, where it's like, okay, it's all snowy, and then you see the Gates of Judgment. It's just like just finally. Like that was really cool. Which, and then by comparison, Alamigo was just like, all right, you
Yeah.
tried, I guess.
I was going to mention that too,
Yeah.
because I knew a lot of people who were super excited to go into Alamigo, and we're like, oh, it's going to be just like the Gates of Judgment. It's going to be like so hype. And then it just wasn't. But
I think, and
it,
I've said this
yeah.
before too. I think the way that Stormblood was handled, right, with A Realm Reborn, and I don't
Mhm.
mean this right in any kind of negative context to the 1.0 dev team, right? But
Sure.
with like ARR, it's like, okay, we got to like fix this and get it up to snuff, right? With 3.0, it's we're still attached to this
Mhm.
original base that we worked off of, right? So what was something that players were, big air quotes, promised, right? Ishgard. We'll
Yeah.
go to Ishgard next. But then I think by the time they got around to Stormblood, and this could be just in my head, it could be an
Mhm.
actual thing. I see it as Yoshida being like, okay, we're starting to do this. Like, I also kind of want to do like my own thing though. And so I think that's why we had that weird split where it's like Alamigo was the next, like, this is what 1.0 players expect. but also like we need to do something new. I would like to try and do something that's a little more me versus like continuing what 1.0 was, and then we got the Far East, we got Kugane. I feel like maybe that's how that played out, but I could be wrong.
That's so interesting to me because I've always gotten the impression that it's almost the reverse. That like Yoshida-san knew that so many people wanted to go to a version of the Far East in Final Fantasy XIV, and almost felt like that was more the side that was appealing to player desire.
Okay.
In like a lot of the stuff that he's talked about. And yet, I think between the two, it was the better done region.
I agree.
For all that Stormblood, I mean, we talked about it in our full-on journey through the 10-year anniversary, every single expansion series of podcasts that we did.
Right.
So if anybody's just listening now and you want
we
to
have
hear
talked
more
at length
meticulous,
about this.
yes, you want to hear more of like an actual 10-year retrospective, breaking down each of the expansions and things that happened at various eras in the game and development and stuff that changed and all kinds of stuff, go look for those, because we're just doing more of a general jaunt down memory lane kind of reminiscing today. But for all that, Alamigo wasn't really the pinnacle that I hoped it would be. Stormblood still has a lot of fond memories for me. You know, just setting out that first day, I remember my first few steps into the world, exploring, running into like different people. I will forever remember, although this was at the time frustrating, but has become something that is like a shared meme experience. Raubon Extreme.
Oh, yes.
I'll remember like, you know, not being able to get through that and having to navigate the lines with players as queues were forming and people were trying to like teach each other like, yes, we'll make a queue and then you go hold and then you go and this will totally work. And then people were dragging all of those monsters from, is it the Fate or whatever, over there on top of the line, having to go through that, eventually giving up at one point to just go Fate farm with some friends, because that was also when they had introduced some of the first time those like bonus fates. Where if a bonus enemy shows up, you get that bonus experience.
Or you have like the one friend that like got through it like day one super early and now they have flying access. So it's like, I'll show you the rest of the zone, hop on my 2-seater mount and I'll take you over the canyon.
Yep. Stormblood had a lot of good memories. And I will always remember wandering Kugane for the first time, because that city is so beautiful. And all the little hidden bits and pieces of it are just gorgeous.
Jump puzzles were a thing in Stormblood.
Jump puzzle became a thing, yeah. As well as the step. I mean, that zone left a huge impression. All of the story there is just so well done. And that like initial reveal, I've talked about it on the podcast before, but as you like come out of the camp and you go up the hill for your first sighting of Hien, the way the music shifts as you cross the boundary, that look over the plains, as well as everything coming off of that, the competition, the dungeon that you do, all the different characters there. Yeah, like a lot of good memories in Stormblood. And I think, funnily enough for me, Stormblood was the last expansion that I just played for me. And I didn't actually end up doing any live streaming of it or recording of it. And so I think in a lot of ways too, that was a very different experience, because now for expansion releases, I hold myself up to record all of my reactions for YouTube. And I don't like, you know, Bebop isn't in here with me. I don't oftentimes like group with a bunch of people because it's kind of chaos and I'm not having everybody on mics, and I take a really long time, as you all know, we're like talking about the moments and my feelings and lore stuff and this thing and that thing. And it really slows down other people's experience. So anymore, it's just me. But Stormblood really felt like a time when like so many of us were setting out on new horizons and starting it. So even though it was bumpier and there were parts of it that weren't as good, perhaps narratively from that perspective, I still have a lot of fond memories of just the time spent going through that and exploring it with folks.
You mentioned Hien's music, and getting up that hill and hearing that track from Final Fantasy VI for Cyan, I was like, it's Doma, it's this. What is the rest of the story going to even be like? And then I think about it and I'm like, right, the Gestalian Empire, the Garlean Empire, like how have I not seen that Doma would be straight up, you know what I mean? Like it put it all together and it just recontextualized that introduction and the step itself to me. And I mean, I was hyped about Stormblood for Red Mage, and I still do like it, I just don't mean it. But yeah, Stormblood, and then we said it, we went into the details, but Stormblood is basically that hitting the stride expansion, but you kind of, you don't put the power in there. It just feels like there wasn't the power of a Shadowbringers or a Heavensward. It was that kind of keeping step to then plant and hit you with Shadowbringers. But if we didn't have it, Shadowbringers wouldn't have hit as hard, I don't believe. So,
yeah.
I don't know.
Shadowbringers had so many of those moments.
Oh, yeah, there's too many. Too many.
Setting foot on for the first time, that like strange alien inversion.
The
color.
fact that we even went to the first. I mean, I remember when that was announced, and I'm like, but New World and Marisidia and Ilsabar, like, we're going to another thing? Like, what?
We went.
We did.
went.
Yeah,
we did, and they had an underwater city, and it was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen.
Yeah,
good time.
It's incredible. As I think back, I didn't start raiding until Stormblood. Yeah, I started in the Eden raids. But a lot of good memories with that too. And, with you, Al, in Zadija, when we were progging stuff and, pushing through, I feel like I learned so much in that time about raiding. Even before that, when some of us were just like YOLOing, trying to go in as a group, the ridiculous calls, the ridiculous little like, I don't even know why, for some reason, in the painting one, we had a call for Bebop. I could not tell you where this joke came from because it was so many weird, convoluted steps.
Oh, yeah.
But when Bebop would have to take one of the big, like the off tank would soak this big thing during the painting fight. And every single time somebody would just call out, Bebop, become the Little Mermaid. To this day, when I'm like, I can't tell you why. I don't know if it was supposed to be because, like, how like the Little Mermaid rises up out of the water and she's on the rock and she like throws her hair back and she's like this lone figure. Maybe it came from that. I don't remember, but it's so many of those silly little things. It's like showing up on the raid nights that we would do with our group where everybody would just be wearing something really dumb or like wearing nothing. Or like, doing squats on top of each other while we wait for a raid explanation to finish up.
Or you rename a weird Latin like named attack into something like gosh, what was this? I think it was Emerald Weapon. I forget what the actual attack is called, but we called it Lego Pharmacist.
Yeah,
because it kind of looks like a Lego Pharmacist. Yeah, why not?
Yeah,
I love that.
Those are the reasons why I love raiding, right? Like the things that you have to do for your team that nobody does, right? There are the accepted strats, the best, the most optimal. Nowadays, that's basically the only way that you're going to get to do them because not doing them feels bad, which is a problem. That's one of the things that I will always remember about Stormblood and Heavensward, and Shadowbringers is where it started to pivot. That recovery felt really good because you weren't really blocked by anything. It's like everybody's on different timers anyway. It'll be fun. And those are some of my favorite moments in raiding when everything has gone to crap. I don't know why. Everything's gone to shit. I'm gonna actually curse. I'm an adult.
Just say how you feel, man.
Yeah, everything's gone to shit, and someone does something, and you're like, "Holy! How did you?" That's not even okay. Great, we're gonna keep going, right? Not like limit break moments, but like a clutch res right before this mechanic, in the right place, right? Oh, you don't have to move. You're already there. Or crap, the tank died. Well, someone's gonna get this tank buster. You survived? How? All right, we'll keep going. Those sorts of things. And I don't know. Back then, it felt better because then you were back to what you were doing and you weren't now unaligned from everyone else. Which is weird when you think about it. But yeah, those moments are what I will always remember. The clutch limit breaks, this person's not in the right place. I'll just adjust. Because that's what it's about. It's about adjusting and getting through it with your friends and your eccentric raid calls. We've blessed the rains down in Africa for many, many, many expansions now. I think it started with first Leviathan, but it came back in second Leviathan, right? But those things are really what make ratings special. And yeah, I right now I just feel like there's a bunch of friction, at least for me to feel those. But I remember how much fun those have been for me, and that's why I keep trying to rekindle that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a summoner joke. Whoops.
Well done. I do see in chat.
I caught that. I appreciate that. Yeah.
It's good. Thank you for the summoner joke. Thank you for the summoner joke. I mean, yeah, it's absolutely why you raid, right? Literally right now, as I look, Chris, in my current raid group, we do have for P10S a call for the tank towers, which started out for some reason as meat towers. I'll leave that to your imagination.
Yeah, that's
But
fine.
given some of the recent comedy and memery, not at all definitely as well encouraged by Ben Starr on Twitter for the 19 inches of Venom figurine.
Oh, sure.
To get your minds out of the gutter, they are now called Venom Towers. They stand proud and tall, and we wipe unless they're called by their appropriate name. So, yeah, I mean, it's little things like that. It's the banter. It's that moment of victory. It's that even though we're slogging it out, and there are times where you're just like, oh, can we please just be done with this? Just knowing you're all coming together and you're all trying to do something. I mean, from the first X I ever did, Titan X, to now to doing other stuff and dabbling a little bit here or there in Ultimate. I mean, it's still one of those things that can be so fun to just do with a group.
Yeah.
And role playing is also fun to do with a group.
Sure.
I've been biding my time waiting.
Yeah.
Just pound role play.
Role play.
Nobody saw it coming.
Some of my favorite memories in game have a lot to do with role play. I'm in a role play campaign right now that's been wonderful. I have incredible RP partners that I've met that are good friends, and taking adventures with them and writing things, it adds so many layers. We're doing a playthrough right now of the whole game, and like role playing our way through it and adding in little scenes here or there for, you know, our headcanons with our particular kind of heroes and sort of shared warrior of light kind of thing. And those ways that like the player base and that, you know, people who have any kind of creative connection to the game, even just hearing about other people's perceptions of their warrior of light, what they're role playing, what things they're expanding on in the lore. It gets me so excited for the game, and a lot of my most treasured memories are from events like that. Some of them serious, some of them funny, some of them just really chill nights where we're just doing like a cozy RP. And I think that in that way, it's almost like taking on another life on top of that life that you have from the narrative in the game and the life that we have IRL, but like bringing something to life together in game, which is really precious too.
I remember one of the first times me and Rook did something together. We went to like Sly's. Was it a birthday party? Right.
It was.
And I just remember sending her a towel and I was like, Rook, I can't dye my clothes on this character. Because Sly's all about, you know, wear blue. I'm like,
yeah,
I have dye, but I can't do it. Can you dye my clothes for me?
Fusion's just passing me his clothes. I'm taking the dye.
There's just like this naked alt just standing there, just waiting for his clothes to be dyed.
See, I had the opposite problem. I could dye, but I didn't have the dye.
Yeah.
So
somebody came down the line though and was like, "Does anyone need dye?" I was like, "Yes." They could have offered a service. I would have given them the like 50 gil that you start the game with.
They would have had a racket going.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I don't RP in game. I haven't since 11 probably. But RP for me is tabletop. That's my preferred place to RP. And, you know, for the show, I don't even remember how the idea got started for the first edition game. I don't know who said it. Maybe it was like, oh, well, there's nothing to do in the game right now, so what can we do? And I was like, I don't know, maybe I could do that. Or it was in the zeitgeist for some reason, maybe Critical Role or something else. And I just remember going, okay, what the heck am I going to even do? All right, well, I'll just, you know, play the game, do this. And then we were in Shadowbringers. And I just thought about the experience of someone who lived on the first in the whirlwind that is Shadowbringers. Like within, I don't know, a month, your whole life completely changed. Like there's night now. That's only something I've ever heard of. You know, like there's a warrior of what now? Yomor is attacking whom? Why is this going on? Like, why has the world gone crazy? And then the Heroes Gauntlet and 5-3. those people have gone through a lot, and I thought, man, it would be fun to see that first person, like to be someone who's there to experience that, and that just inspired me so much that I was like, yeah, that seems fun. I want to do that. And yes, we could play it more often. That's partly due to being busy at work, and also partly because I'm not super enthused with the game right now.
Busy, okay? Things have happened. There was a fan fest.
Yeah, but it reminded me, and I got a similar pop for the game that I did with you, Rook. For your community.
The one shot.
That was so fun.
The one shot back in the the Empire during the Crystal Tower events. That is still to be continued.
We gotta do our part 2.
Yeah, absolutely. But those things, and that's why role-playing is great for any game, is that it reinforces, it makes you see it in a different way, and it makes some moments that may not have been big way bigger when you think about them again, right? Like it's so great for the game, and that's really why so many, well, I won't say so many people stayed from 1.0 to 2.0, but it's kind of anecdotal. Every single one of the friends that I have that played through 1.0 did it because they were still RPing. And that's at least 40 people, right? Like it's crazy.
Yeah. This is the did we talk about her? What else is there? There's got to be one more thing.
Well, I'm thinking about the at FanFest. So we had the jaunt down memory lane that was the community panel with I and Danielle. So let me ask a question that they were asking, sort of through some of their stuff. What has been your favorite meme to come out of the Final Fantasy XIV community?
Skybear. I was actually they had a media room. So as soon as the keynote was done, I went up there to start typing up our coverage, and so I got to catch bits and pieces of their panel while I was typing stuff up, and I hear them start talking about Skybear, and I just kind of perk up. I'm like, Skybear, and I'm just in this room of there's a couple other people being all serious working, just Skybear. I miss Skybear. Bring back Skybear.
There you go.
I want bring back a grassy Corthus, and give us a quest line that's just the adventures of Skybear.
We could have more of them. There's a sea of clouds. There's a lot of cloudkin that can fly because of internal bladders, right? Up there could have one,
but they're not Skybear. We need
exactly.
We need Skybear back.
Yeah.
Would you be okay
if there was a family of Skybear? If they removed the mystery and said why Skybear could fly, would you be okay with that? Or do you want to keep it a mystery?
If it meant bringing Skybear back, I'm down.
You'd be okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Let's do it.
I didn't know if it would limit the wonder in any way. No?
I think I'd be okay with it.
Okay. All right.
Like 7.0 Hildebrand, he finds a family of Skybears.
Yeah.
And they just ride the Skybears into the night or something, into the sunset. Yeah. Let's do it. Square, if you want some ideas, you know how to get a hold of me. Skybear, let's do it. Skybear relic weapons.
Why not?
Yeah.
I'm just trying to.
Yeah, Aldine, are you trying to think of one now? Because immediately I ask the question, then my brain goes completely empty of memes.
Well,
you didn't have one ready while you were posing the question?
I know, I didn't.
I mean, there's a lot. There's Raubon Extreme. There's
Skip Soar.
Skip Soar. Yeah, there's a whole lot. There's Cape Westwind, right?
Oh, Cape.
Scaring newbies with Cape Westwind.
I remember Cape Westwind.
That'll never happen ever again.
Ever again, right? It's those things, or still a meme. Goodness, I'm trying to remember the Aurum Vale. Aurum Vale is such a meme to me. They made it a bit easier, but Aurum Vale. That fight or that dungeon and going through it with new people, especially in 2.0 time.
Yeah.
My goodness.
Aurum Vale remains
spicy.
One of my 1.0 regrets. There was a legacy achievement to go through Aurum Vale without eating a fruit, and I never did it. It's like
Yeah.
that and Riven Road Hard. I never did.
Mm,
But
mhm.
but then they released the earrings anyway, and they didn't bother to differentiate them. So I could say I did it, and people will never know.
You can, and honestly, just go for it, because yeah, nobody
Mhm.
will be the wiser for it,
Yeah.
Fusion. I
Everyone
mean,
was
yeah,
like, "What's a
Orville is a
Riven
big
Road?"
meme.
Yeah.
I just saw one as I was browsing. That's a recent one that I love, though.
Mhm.
That's the 4-panel up-close shot of the 4 faces of those figurines they released for the
Yes.
London Fan Fest.
Oh
And
yeah.
they've renamed them all. And Meteor is called Meat Ear, like meaty, like meat.
Yeah.
And Hades is called a Handy. Deus is
That's
called
great.
Hyphlophobia. And Venat is just called Vent. And that one got me good. I did really like that meme.
I would
Still
love to
makes me
see
giggle.
the box art packaging for these totally legit first party official goods.
Yeah.
Slap
how
like
could
an
we forget?
Avengers logo on
Uh.
there, maybe like a Batman symbol. Yeah, like
Yeah.
totally fantasy heroes
Mm-hmm.
collection.
Slap them on.
Yeah.
That kind of energy.
How could we forget, though, the one that has literally left a mark even on FanFest, which is the dance meme. The dance meme
yes.
from yeah.
Oh, the
The
long fall.
Light Party, Long Fall.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yep. Such a great meme. I mean, the first thing that I thought of, because it's incredibly recent and it is very, I guess, topical. So, I went back to rating because I need to. I think I need to. It's medicine that I will take. Um, and I was like, I'm just not enthused. You know what? I'm going to go look and see what people are doing to optimize. That'll get me engaged again. I always love looking at that. And I went to the Balance Discord, which is a theory crafting place, which is cool. It's a cool place. And I went to the Summoner Lounge, and I did this. This is just kind of where people hang out and talk. I did this about 4 days ago,
Okay.
and I happened to be in a collective mental break, in the middle of a collective mental break of all the summoners in that lounge. In fact, for 4 to 5 days, it might still be happening now if I check it. It was just one emote, just one very sad emote that everyone was spamming. Apropos to nothing. Nothing really triggered this other than someone coming back and going, "Hey, how's it going?" And the whole entire lounge for days was just like, very bad. I don't like this. I am very sad. And the memes that spawn from there, like, remember we once lived and it had tried disaster, right? Like, it's just that feeling of that shared disgruntlement, right? I went there to feel better about playing Summoner, and I didn't. Don't get me wrong. I don't. I do not feel better about
Doesn't
doing
seem
that.
like that would have helped.
No, but it did help because I remembered that I'm not alone, right? Because a lot of times when I'm like upset and complaining, I'm like, but everyone else is having a great time.
We're
And,
suffering
the
together.
fan fest was
Yay!
great. Yeah, and I'm just like, but maybe I'm the only one who feels this way. Maybe I should just suck it up. And then I go there and I'm like, no, it's all of us. All right, well, guess I'll just keep going. Like, it was a very interesting moment. And like I said, it was like 4 days ago. And I literally went there to feel better. And I did, in a weird way.
Just not the way you were expecting.
I mean, the Summoner Lego memes,
Yeah.
the memes in which they share the old rotation, and now the new one with a, let's say, not with like someone who's depicted as not being very smart, let's say, doing the new one, that sort of thing. I like it. It's misery, sure, but so is Rob on Extreme. Sometimes memes from shared misery really hit, right? I don't know what else to call it, right? It's just that shared,
Commiserating,
yeah, commiserating, right? Yes. And I don't know, it really did make me feel better somehow. So shout out to those in there. I hope that you're not feeling better, but I hope that you're still memeing.
Well, Dragoons
away.
always die. We'll always have that for us.
Yep. Floor
There's
tanking.
another one, floor tanking with Dragoons.
Yep.
That's a good one.
I had an
mean,
emote when the Play Dead emote came out on Mog Station.
Yeah.
I did a slash. What it activates floor oath.
Very good. Ooh, those are good ones too. All of the memes off of like either real or fake like auto macro posts
Oh, yeah.
in the chat, like ridiculous ones like that.
Yeah.
Absolutely love those, as well as anything involving that shot of Louis Soir that you were talking about,
Yes.
the 10-year portrait thing, kind of emulating anything where he's just getting blasted.
Mhm.
Like, people have turned that into a meme. I mean, yeah, there's a
Yeah.
lot of good memery. There's also been a lot of great fan art and fan
Oh, yeah.
creations and all kinds of stuff that's
Yeah.
more serious, or, you know, not the silly side. But I mean, like you were saying, sometimes, Aldino, we just need to have a laugh together, for
Mhm.
whatever reason,
There's
because it brings us together in some way.
there's a video, and I am blanking on the creator and the channel name, so
Mhm.
please forgive me. But he's been doing a lot of like custom like 3D model work and making stuff. So there's like one
Mhm.
where like Fortuno comes home and sees how you've dressed his wife, or there's the scene where Grahatia brings you a sandwich. He's like, "You made that for me?" "Yeah, man. Go ahead, take a bite." Like, it's just like really like it's so funny. So if
Yeah.
anybody
The
knows
machinima-like,
what
right?
that, yeah. They're
crap.
they're really funny.
Yeah.
There was I think Rook, I might have sent one to you when you were playing with Paul and Angie, because Paul had his minion that he named Professor Skinkling, and then there was a video, I think it was the same person, where a Lalafell ate that minion, just like like. No, don't. Okay.
We don't approve of this, but yes, I remember the
Okay.
meme.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
That was
No
a
one's gonna
thing.
eat Professor Skinkling, okay?
But yeah, it's just
He has
there's-
important work as a professor that he has to do. So,
what is Professor Skinkling a professor of?
blue tongues and eating bugs
Okay.
and chill vibes, actually. Just to be honest.
So if you
living a good life,
listen,
essentially.
so pre-order Sanctuary's Heart, the deluxe edition. Eat some bugs and grab like a blue raspberry icy, and
Mhm.
there you go. That's the requirements to hang out with the coveted Professor
Vibe
Skinkling.
check.
Yeah.
The vibe check.
The vibe
yes.
check.
Yeah, you got to pass the vibe check.
Right.
Oh,
Can we
oh,
rename
man.
ready checks to that?
There you go.
I mean, yeah, there's been a lot of memories in this game.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like we could have all busted out like screenshot
sure.
photo albums where we
Oh,
were just like, and
gosh.
you remember
I-
when and we
I
did.
still have, Charles mentioned this earlier, playing alpha. Yeah, I was like the day one alpha. Like, I'm like day -1, like playing this game back in 1.0. Like, our character creator screen used to be on a cliff in Limsa. Like, oh my gosh. Yeah, back then, battle text showed for everybody. It wasn't just specific to your character, because that was a bug, like one of the first bugs. So like, as you'd be walking around, you would just see everybody's like
Spam.
damage everywhere. You couldn't read the chat. It was, oh my gosh.
Mhm.
Yeah, I remember wanting to make a shirt. Like, they were like talking about how like cool and detailed this new crafting system is. It took me so long to make a shirt, because I had to get the plants to make the thread, to make the sleeves, and then to kill the thing for the leather to make the body, and then like, oh my god.
And every step of the way, you kept capping out an experience and going, why am I doing this?
Physical levels. Yeah, we used to
Yeah.
have 2 systems for leveling. We had like guild tokens that would like give us traits on our classes because we didn't have jobs yet. Fleet of Foot used to be like a purchasable guild trait.
Those were silly times. Let's not go
Makes me
back.
sad.
But yeah, so I mean, I think that's we've talked a lot about some of our memories. Feel free to share some of yours in the chat, comments. We'd love to hear them, because there's, I mean, 10
Your
13,
favorite meme?
13 14 years. How old is this game? Lots of years, many years of a video game. So yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I thought this event was sweet, and the Rising definitely, I think, got all of us reminiscing and thinking back on our own memories and the people we've met along the way. So we would love to hear all of your thoughts too on that, and your memories that you've made in the game, because we all have unique ones, but a lot of shared ones too, whether they're memes or even just experiences that we all got to go through together.
Shout out everybody who got thrown into the robot in Alexander's first tier. I feel for you.
Oh yeah.
We salute you.
Yes, we salute
I
you for
loved
doing a duty.
Alexander was so cool. And all of a sudden it's like Power Rangers, and you're just like, what?
Yeah.
All right, yeah, sign me up. Remember trash mobs and raids? That was a thing. Still in Heaven's Word. Yeah. All right. Before we end this out, we do have some sad news. I didn't want to like lead the show with this. There's not really a good place to put this in. So if you get kind of triggered by death, now's probably a good time to stop watching.
Thank you for listening. Yep.
Yeah. So a couple weeks ago, Thursday, October 24th, Pook passed away. If you hadn't heard, a couple weeks ago, we did rerun one of our older episodes that he was on. What a fucking gentleman. Like, I've never known anyone so positive and supportive. Our first hype train on this channel was when we were offline, because Pook just sent people over here and he's like, yeah, go do a hype. I'm like, what? Why? Okay. Thanks. So yeah, that sucks. On a personal note, so like after I got married, I moved over to Washington State, right? I've lived like 40 minutes south of him for years. Never met him in person. When Rook was in town, we were actually like starting the conversation of like figuring out when we were going to go up and see him. So just like, man, if you guys have friends, if you're listening, you have friends you haven't met, or you like want to go hang out with somebody and you keep putting it off, don't put it off. Go do it. Because you never know. So I'd like to end today's episode with the way that Pook ended his streams, where he would say, don't do well in life, do good for yourself and those around you.
Yeah, we'll remember Pook just as much as any of these other memories, if not more so. He was a huge part of 14 for many of us, and always a kind word and a gentle smile for every person that he met in this game or out. Really sad. We didn't get a chance to meet him in person, but we got to spend a lot of time with him online, and you know, I just can't speak enough to the memories that I have with Pook, where from the moment I came into this space and we ran into each other, 1,000 acts of kindness from him. Just always being supportive, always coming in and being upbeat. And I'm very glad that in the months leading up to it, I did get to have a good conversation with him where I just let him know how much I appreciated that. But I mean, we're all grieving, definitely, because I wish we could have had many more conversations.
Yeah. Watching the last episode that he was on with us, we
yeah, that was a good one.
He got me so good.
He burned you hard. There's this moment where Rook was like pretending to put on her tinfoil hat, and then Pook just comes. I like how your hat's invisible because you're Vieira, and the smug ass grin that he had. He knows what he did.
Yes, he did.
But yeah, he just such an important person, I think, for the community. It's gonna suck without him, but I think the entire community is in a better place because of him and his positivity and his support that he showed for everybody. So, yeah, there's no good easy way to like talk about this, right? So that's that. Contact information. We're actually wrapping up now. You can find me Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, Raffledurg. YouTube has an X because apparently there's another Raffledurg. I don't know how that works. My life is a soap opera. I have an evil twin. Who knows? But that's me. Aldino.
Here and only here. Also Twitter. I'm never calling it X. It'll never happen. As Aldino. You can find me. Yes, Zen's not here, so I got to do on Twitch as plus the word, one the number. Shot the word.
The word.
I was like, wait a second, because what we were gonna do last night, we did not, is a kind of segment that we called Plus One Shoots the Shit, where we just talk about. I think the last one before I wasn't on was Baldur's Gate 3. We talk about tabletop and things like that. But yeah, so that's a channel on which we play tabletop games. I don't believe there are any this weekend because they were all last weekend, but next week there'll be a couple more. You know, our D&D Diablo game. We've got a game that was converted from Pathfinder. And at some point, I have been talked into doing a dissertation, maybe a TED talk, about specifically why I love tabletop systems that have the crunch, the numbers. A lot of people don't like that, but I really think they reinforce RP. Want to know more about it? You can watch that. I'm not going to go into it here. That's it.
Right.
That's me.
And Rook.
Yes, hi. You can find me on my Twitch. That's at Rookery, ROOKURI. You can also find me over on YouTube at the same, where I do oftentimes playthroughs and reactions, a lot for Final Fantasy XIV. So if you want to see my journey from 5.3 on, go check that out. And was it 5.3? Yes, okay. For a second, I was like, where
What are we
What
on?
number are we on now?
We're on 4.
Basically, Shadowbringers to now, a bit the Shadowbringers patch content to now. And you can find me on Twitter, because I agree, Algie, I will never call it by the other cursed name, at Rookery _ ROOKURI _. And tomorrow morning, if you're listening to this right now in the moment, tomorrow on Sunday here on this, what is it going to be? The 10th of September. Just so that everybody knows if you're listening. I'll be live again over on the official Final Fantasy XIV channel. Tune in tomorrow morning, bright and early, depending on your time zone. Maybe
It may not be bright. It'll be early, but it may not be bright.
It'll be early, right? It'll be dark and early. The sun won't even be up, and I know this, and I'm just bracing myself, but it's going to be worth it. It's going to be a ton of fun. And even if you can't watch those, again, the CC, RC, EU, and Oceania that's happening, our Crystalline Conflict Regional Championships, watch the VODs and tune in live if you're not going to be in FanFest, at FanFest in person. And if you are going to be at FanFest in person in London, say hi to me. That's all. The end.
You can find Rook
Watch
at
it
the
now,
London
so you learn the
FanFest
meme.
on stage, because she's
Yes.
killing it, and so is Liffy. That's gonna be I can't wait. It's gonna be so cool.
Yeah.
I just am now today doing my measurements for the suit that I am planning on wearing. So I'm very
Oh.
excited.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
Getting fancy.
My glamour, you know what? I'm going to
Yeah,
try and
get your
do our
glamour
community proud.
Are you
Gotta get that
also
glamour
going
so
to
right.
wear an
That's
amethyst
right.
necklace that everybody thinks is Squapes, like Brian did?
Oh, so tempting. I don't
Oh,
know.
yeah.
I don't know. Maybe.
I wasn't budgeting the
We'll
Squapes
see.
necklace. We'll have to see.
Yeah, stay tuned for the glamour.
All right. If you want, you can email us here at the show, aetheryte@gamerscape.com. You can tweet at us at Aetheryte Radio. You can also find us as Gamerscape on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, and Discord, discord.gg/Gamerscape. You can come on, we can talk about the show, we can talk about Final Fantasy XIV, whatever you want. We got all sorts of stuff. Oh, I hit the wrong button. I hit the wrong, hold on. We got to, how do I podcast? There we go, we did it. We're done.
Holding.
So yeah, so that's
Are we
it.
good?
That's, we're good, we're fine.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So that's it for this week. We'll see you guys next week. Maybe.
Yeah.
Next week.
We'll figure it out. We got.
Yeah.
We're
far as I know.
we're getting back into it. I think everybody's here.
It's
We're
happening.
gonna figure
It's
it out.
happening.
We're gonna talk about
It's happening.
stuff and things.
Stuff.
Yeah.
We will pick a
Those-
topic.
Starfield, Final Fantasy XIV character customizations, ship designs, make a cactar. It's like gummy ships and
Oh,
Kingdom
Sure.
Hearts.
We'll
Remember
keep
that you could like
troubleshooting
buy
it,
like a
Fusion.
cactar. and-
Yeah. Yeah, we'll workshop this.
Yeah, we'll
yeah,
figure it
just-
out. It probably won't be that, but maybe.
we joked about it earlier. I was just bringing it back, and you're turning it
Oh,
into
good
like
circle
this
back,
whole
good circle
thing.
back.
It's fine. It's fine. We'll figure it out. We're gonna talk about something. It's all good. Thank you everybody for hanging out, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.